consent if they feel like they need to go forward and defend themselves. What I would like to know from you all is what you feel like Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran will do in retaliation. And then again, how important it is that we as a Congress, we as an administration, resupply and do what it takes to help Israel during those very crucial hours after that happens. We'll start with you, Professor Kittery.
Sure. Thank you. You raised the option of an Israeli military strike on Iran. I mean, it's not a good option, nor is a U.S. military strike on Iran a particularly good option. I certainly wouldn't recommend them today, although on the other hand, the only thing worse than a U.S. military strike on Iran would be a nuclear-armed Iran. The challenge is that if you go in and try and take out Iran's nuclear program, you really have to do the job right. There are a lot of sites that are well hidden. There are sites that we may not know about. And for one squadron of Israeli planes to go and drop a few bombs, it worked in Osirak. It may well not work with respect to Iran. So if anybody's going to do a military strike, it would have to be the United States, because only the U.S. has the capacity, the manpower to do the job right.
Well, I just have 3 quick points. The United States should not be in the practice of sacrificing allies. That's not realism. It's just stupid. 2, a nuclear Iran would feel itself overconfident, and one of the greatest threats we have to Middle East peace and security is overconfidence or states not understanding the other's red lines. After the 2006 Hezbollah-Israel war, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, said that if he had known how Israel would have reacted, he never would have launched the operation he did that started the war. The problem is a nuclear Iran, Ahmadinejad and the IRGC and the Supreme Leader surrounded by like-minded people may be prone to overconfidence and miscalculation. The last point I want to make, which has direct relevance to both the popular protests which we've seen and the issue of Iran's ideology, is that a lot of people say that should Iran develop nuclear weapons capability, we could live with a nuclear Iran because they're not suicidal. The problem is that among certain portions of the people that would be in command and control, specifically within the Supreme Leader Circle and the IRGC, there may be people that are ideologically committed to the destruction of Israel. Now, should there be a popular uprising when Iran has that nuclear capability, they may feel that they have nothing to lose with the calculation that, look, we're done for anyway, and is the United States or Europe really going to retaliate against an already changed regime? Therefore, it's essential for the peace and stability in the region that Iran not be allowed to get this far in the first place. Thank you.
And with Iran having nuclear ability, then the Saudis and the whole region are going to feel threatened, aren't they? And also start the proliferation. We're already hearing perhaps deals with Pakistan and things like that with the Saudis.
You're absolutely correct. It would be a cascade of instability, and the nuclear non-proliferation regime would be dead.
Also, 3 quick points, Congressman. I would slightly disagree with Michael here in the sense that I think that what we've seen from the last 6 weeks is that this Iranian regime is incredibly odious, but it's not suicidal. On the contrary, it ruthlessly wants to hold on to power. The second point is that the problem we have with Iran has far more to do with the character of the regime than its nuclear ambitions. And the third point is that if we bomb Iran, I feel that we could do serious damage to this opposition movement and alter its trajectory and further entrench these odious hardliners in Tehran.
So do you feel like Iran is serious about doing what it says if they have nuclear weapons to Israel?
What do they say they're going to do?
I think they've made it clear that they don't feel like Israel should exist. And Israel, is probably a 1 or 2 bomb country.
Well, they've never articulated a policy of military destroying Israel. They articulated a policy of a referendum in Israel, which is essentially one.
So that's, for you, that's way too far of a stretch if you felt.
Again, I would just simply reiterate that the problem we have with this regime, in my opinion, is the character of it, not its nuclear ambitions. And if we bomb the regime, we're going to extend its shelf life indefinitely.
I think first of all, whether it is Israel or in conjunction with the United States will be blamed for it. No one in Iran or in the Middle East believes, whether right or wrong. There is, as you well know, prevalence of conspiracy theories where people will believe that the United States is complicit in it. I think it would be the gravest mistake Israel has made. I think it would be counterproductive to Israel's security. I think it would be extremely counterproductive for the U.S. Thousands of U.S. soldiers sit within a missile strike of Iranian soldiers and Revolutionary Guards, and I can tell you that if they are attacked, they will respond, and there will be thousands of collateral damage. They know that this strike might come. They have fortified their bases. They have taken it and put it some of the most sensitive places underground in the city of Isfahan. So you're going to have a lot of unfortunate collateral damage.
The time of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Klein, is recognized for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Appreciate